guys, it's your girl Lipsy. We're back for another video. This is day 16 of Spooktober. We're actually past our halfway mark now, guys. It's sad, isn't it? If I haven't covered somewhere that you really want me to cover, please let me know. You can message me on Facebook, you can message me on Twitter, Instagram, just put it in the comments if you want. I'm totally happy to go anywhere. So today's video is going to be about somewhere that if you go to a school in Wales, you definitely went to make candles when you were like 10, and the candles always smelled really weird. If you don't go to a school in Wales, just ignore that. I know it sounds weird, but that's for the Welsh people to hear. They'll get it, I promise. So if you haven't guessed already and you did go to a Welsh school, I'm just going to jog your memory here. We are going to be talking about Llancaiach Fawr. So we're just going to dive straight in, guys. So Llancaiach Fawr is a Tudor house. It's just a little bit off Nelson's. It's a little bit further out than what I usually cover. It is a grade 1 listed building. Second grade 1 listed building that we've spoken about now, along with Scaur House. Now it's built on earlier medieval structure. That could be that they knocked it down and built on it, or that could be that they added to it. It's not too certain. So it had a lot to do with the kind of union between Wales and England. If anyone doesn't know, the Welsh and the English just absolutely hate each other for like a million reasons. Now the manor is actually one of the most important gentry houses to have survived from the 16th or 17th century. If you don't know what gentry is, it's people who are like well born into kind of upper class families and who were born into money. Now one of the most famous families who have lived in Llancaiach Fawr are the Pritchard family. So Colonel Edward Pritchard and his wife Mary Pritchard. Edward was actually the commissionary to the king, so that's Charles I. Mary was the sister of a parliamentarian called Busy Mansell, or Busy Mansell, or Busy, no, we can't put that in, a famous parliamentarian. Now it said that King Charles actually came to visit the building in 1645, and there's actually proof to back this up because a couple of years ago an archaeologist found a coin from 1645 that belonged to King Charles. Later that year the colonel was made into a governor for Cardiff Castle, so it proves that it's not what you know, it's who you know. And in the time that the Pritchard family were there were around 15 servants that lived there serving them daily, and then 15 outside servants, so they would live outside and then get called in as they were needed. There were also people who worked above them, so there'd be higher class jobs there, and this would include like being a housekeeper, an agent or a valet. Now these jobs are also passed down in families, so if your mother was a housekeeper then you were going to get that job, then your daughter would get that job after you. All of these staff are actually paid on a quarterly basis, which I don't know how normal it was for those days to be paid on a quarterly basis, but I think that's amazing. I would love to get paid on a quarterly basis. Now there was also the steward that worked there. He would need to be fluent in Welsh and English, have a good idea on tenancy, and he would also need to be up to date on the law. Now it's now a museum, so like I said, school trips will be taken there to play with candles. It's all I remember from Llancaiach Fawr is just rolling these bits of wax like over and over. I felt like I did it so many times. It's actually still furnished how it was in 1645, so it was designed on that kind of era. All the furnishing is that now. And listen to this, guys. In 2013, Caerphilly Council got £935,000 to fix the roof, a lift for better access, so that's good, isn't it? And then restore the attic. That's nearly £1 million. That's absolutely crazy. Like, just to fix a roof, put a lift in, and like, why do they need that much money? And then to restore the attic is absolutely crazy. The attic had actually been like fleed by bats and stuff like that, so maybe it was to do with that. Maybe they'd eaten it. And they actually did aim to attract 80,000 visitors by 2020, but we know now due to COVID it's probably gone down to a 4. So Llancaiach Fawr is meant to have many spirits. I've noticed when I'm doing this I say spirits really weirdly and I sound like Joella, and it's not intentional, it's not me trying to be funny, it's just my voice. Now the main 3 ghosts that I'm going to go over is Colonel Pritchard, Matty, who was a housekeeper, and then a little boy who was just there. So let's start off with a little boy. He was actually living there back in the 1700s, and one day he was looking at the window and one of the servants was watching him. They were actually in the upper level, and when he was looking at the window hadn't been latched properly and it kind of slipped over, and this little boy fell to his death onto these concrete slabs underneath it, so he died instantly. But it said this little boy is still there. It's actually really sad because it said that when visitors go there, they feel people tugging on the bottom of their dresses or the bottom of their tops, like, you know, like a child would, like just trying to get your attention. And people have been known to go in and feel a little hand slip into theirs and say, "Can you take me home with you?" It breaks my heart. See, knowing me now, I would go there and I would end up coming back with this ghost child. I'm just like, I'm his mother now. He's also known to be pulling on people's hair and stuff like that. He's just like a little boy, you know. He's felt more than seen. Not many people have seen him, but they've felt him on their body lots of times. Now there's also the ghost of the Colonel that hangs around there. He's always in his regalia. He's known to be a very stern, kind of serious looking man. And there was a gentleman that actually lived there years and years ago. He was just living there. It was his house, okay. And he said one day he went out into his garden and he saw a man in a top hat and a long black coat run past him. He said he was a really tall man, and that's said to be the Colonel. Now, the former housekeeper Matty, years and years ago there was a fire. This is back in the 1600s. There was a fire that destroyed the house, and Matty just happened to be in there and she couldn't escape in enough time, so she unfortunately died in the kitchen. Now it said that she haunts the kitchen, and at night the gentleman who watches over the building always seems to hear rattling, and if you look in there, there's actually hanging saucepans and they always seem to bang against each other. There's no reason why they would. She said to haunt the kitchen mainly, but her bedroom upstairs is actually one of the most paranormally active rooms in the whole house. And this is creepy, guys. Loads of people seem to hear her petticoat rustling like she's running. And the fact that she got killed by a fire, I just think that's horrible. Like she's running away from the fire over and over, like she's in a time loop. That makes me so upset. Now lastly, there's also little children who live in the manor. The kids who live there love to pull pranks, so if you go in, they tend to kind of nick things from your pockets, or they trip you over, or anything like that, you know, like typical kid things. In Llancaiach they do reenactments of the days that they would have been there in 1645, and all of the ladies have bows on the back of their dresses. Now I said that every single shift those ladies do, their bows get untied, and there's no reason for them to untie themselves, so they believe this is the kids of the manor playing tricks on them. And then one day a lady went on a ghost tour in Llancaiach, and she had a brand new jacket on. She'd actually pulled attention to this jacket when she was sat down in the waiting room to go around the tour, and she was telling all her friends where she bought it, how much it was. And by the time she got back off the ghost tour, all of the buttons had been removed. Like, not undone, they'd been removed off of the coat. And they'd actually just been talking about how fine details were in the buttons. It's absolutely hilarious to me. Like, for a ghost to have that much patience to kind of pull every little button off, and that's a kid thing, let's be honest. That would be a child doing that. Now there was also a meeting there back in 2010, and everyone who left the building were all stood together and walking to their cars. When they got around the back of the barn, they heard a lot of kids running around and playing in there. And they all looked at each other as if to say, "Did you just hear what I heard?" And they all agreed that that's what they heard. But the worst thing was, the barn was completely locked. It was late at night. There were definitely no kids in there. And the last thing that I have to say about this place is, a lot of people ask when they go on ghost tours there if they could do a Ouija board. Now, Llancaiach actually don't allow Ouija boards, simply because one night when they tried to do a Ouija board for the first time, they placed a shot glass on top of the middle and they kind of did the first 3 rounds, waited for anything to happen, and next thing you know, the shot glass shot off the table and went straight into the fire, shattering. I would have stopped doing that Ouija board too. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If there's any way you want me to cover, please let me know in the comments if you enjoyed a particular part of the video. Also let me know in the comments, leave a thumbs up. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, and if you are subscribed and you don't have a notification bell clicked, please click on it because I can let you know every single time I upload a video to my channel. And remember guys, never let anyone dull your sparkle.
It's not for me to say.